Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
LBJ Library, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is LBJ Library in Austin, Texas. How do you hear me?
We have you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
We hear you wonderfully. Thank you so much. All right, I have our first student here to ask your first question.
What are you doing during the year-long mission in the International Space Station?
Well, you know, we do a lot up here. We have about 400 different scientific experiments throughout the time that Misha and I are here, and those are in all different types of scientific disciplines. We also do maintenance on the space station, and we do certain activities to improve it. We're doing, Kjell Lindgren, one of the other astronauts, and I are doing a spacewalk next week to do that. But the stuff that's specific to this flight, the one-year flight, has to do with understanding, you know, how our physiology changes throughout a, you know, a longer time in space, and how we are going to, you know, prevent those changes, understand them, so we can go on to Mars someday or elsewhere.
Can you tell us more about the Russian Soyuz?
Well, the Russian Soyuz vehicle is a very reliable spacecraft that has been flying for over 50 years. It is our rescue vehicle, and at the same time, it's our vehicle that flies us to the station. We like this vehicle very much, and I hope our colleagues like it as well. So far, it is the only vehicle flying to the station and a rescue vehicle that we're using. It is a vehicle that has been upgraded. It's not the same that has been flying 20 years ago, and I would like to emphasize again, it is a very reliable vehicle. Thank you.
This is a question for Scott. What makes your year-long mission different from a regular mission?
Well, you know, there's the obvious things, and, you know, it's part of the question. You know, it's much longer. But that also means it's, you know, it's harder in, you know, that you're isolated, you know, for a longer period of time. I think it's, you know, it's twice as long. I think it's more than twice as hard, though. And what comes with that duration is extra training. You know, we're going to do more activities while we're up here. We're going to do more science. We're going to do, you know, have a larger variety of types of things we need to be responsible and accomplish. So the training is more difficult. We're here with, Misha and I are here with, you know, 12, actually I'll be here with 13 other crew members, including Misha. And so, you know, we just have to get, you know, comfortable working with different people. And it just makes for a, you know, a more complicated, but at the same time, a more rewarding experience.
Question from Mikhail. What does the launch feel like?
Well, launch is a very impressive event. It was my second launch. I have more experience than most, but it's always an unforgettable, very exciting experience. But also, it's an activity, it's work that requires a lot of responsibility. These are the most important stages of the flight in space exploration. The entire mission accomplishment and success depends on that stage. Thank you.
This is surprise question for Scott from Mark, your brother.
With so much conflict around the world involving energy, what, if anything, is being done on the ISS to solve the global energy problem?
Well, that's a good question. I didn't know I was going to get questions from my brother. This facility and this orbiting laboratory is a very energy efficient environment. We use solar energy. It's been powering our human presence here for the last 15 years. We've had people living here completely on solar energy. We recycle our water. We basically take our urine and turn it into water, and we can drink that. And from that water, we also, through a process of electrolysis, we make oxygen. We scrub our atmosphere of carbon dioxide, and which is CO2, and from the oxygen we get out of that CO2 and the hydrogen we get out of making electricity out of our water, we also can make more water. So it's kind of this closed loop environmental control system and energy system, I guess you could say, that really just uses the sun to make it all happen. And it's a state-of-the-art system. It allows us to, I think, understand how we can use renewable energy in a much more complete way. We also do other kinds of scientific experiments. For instance, we're standing right next to this combustion integrated rack, which is this very, you can't see it because the door is closed, but it's a very complicated scientific furnace that allows us to do experiments to understand the process of combustion better and how to make more fuel efficient combustion reactions. We also have this Japanese experiment going on now called plant gravity sensing. It's a follow-on to a previous experiment, but the idea is if we understand how plants, how their genetics are such that they go towards gravity versus water. If you could genetically engineer a plant that would be more prone for the roots to travel towards water, you could theoretically use less water to grow them. And water is also a national security issue, or will be for some countries. So understanding those kind of processes, the renewable energy, how to better use water to grow our food is very important for the planet down below that we're looking at right through our window down there.
Thank you, Scott.
What can you see from the space station?
It depends which one place we are flying from. For example, now I see Pacific Ocean, if I don't mind, and in several minutes we will flying under the India. South America. Yes, and all circle around the Earth. It's 90 minutes, and we can observe practically 90% of Earth. It's very impressive.
Yeah. And to just add to that, I think maybe what you were getting at is maybe what can you see that is made by people, and there's this common misconception that we can see the Great Wall of China, for instance, but you can't because it's not that large, but also because it's generally made with the materials that are surrounding it, so it's somewhat camouflaged. But we could see airports stand out. You could see fields that are, for farmers' fields that are in certain shapes. You can definitely see cities, especially at night, but you can see cities and tell that that's something that is man-made. The other thing that's really easy to see that is as a result of, human, our life on Earth is pollution. You can definitely tell that there's certain areas of the world that are much more polluted than others because you generally don't see those cities and see the ground very well.
All right, I have two questions. My first one is, how long do you have to train?
Yeah, so, I think generally for a long duration space flight, we train from, 2 to 3 years. But, that's after you're already an astronaut or cosmonaut and have been, training, since you started there, which is usually the basic training. I think for both of our programs is on the order of, 2 to 3 years. And so from the time, you get selected as an astronaut, probably the minimum amount of time you would wind up training these days is from, 5 to 6 years for a flight. But this this facility is so complicated. The work we do here is tough in a lot of ways that I think there are skills that I learned in when I was your age that are serving me well up here. So I look at it as more of a lifelong training process to get here versus any particular shorter period of time.
This one for Scott. What effects does a space flight have on your body?
Yeah, there's a bunch of effects from living in microgravity. Some of them, those are well known, like the loss of bone mass and muscle mass. And we have ways to mitigate those, to make them less, like exercise and diet. There's also a recent thing we've discovered a few years ago is effects on the structure of our eyes and optic nerve and an impact on our vision. And understanding that and knowing how to prevent that is going to be important for any future trips to Mars. We also have the effects of radiation, which can affect us in varying ways, and some of those ways you may never even find out. But we do get a pretty healthy dose of radiation up here, and that's that's kind of a negative effect. There's also an effect on our immune system. Our immune system is somewhat degraded while we're in space. But there are a lot of positive effects of living up here. You get a unique perspective on our planet that is really hard to describe sometimes. But seeing the Earth down there and understanding that all the people that we know and love and things we care about are all right down there, and see how the Earth looks more like one country than just a bunch of different countries. It looks like we're kind of all in this situation down there together. And then the other positive thing is you get to work on something that we think is very important. Something we feel very strongly about, and work with a great group of people.
For Mikhail, what do cosmonauts do when they're not in space?
Скажите, что делают космонавты, когда они не летают в космосе?
Есть такое понятие, как период после полета.
There is such a time stage that includes post-flight rehabilitation. We're going to have a year of rehabilitation, Scott and myself, after our long duration mission. Then we're going to have the medical examination that will clear us for subsequent training Then you are assigned a new flight, and then you're going to go through a 2.5 or 3 year long training for the next flight. That is a brief description. Thank you.
This is a question for Scott. What kind of food do you eat?
Yeah, so we have we have all different kinds of food. Most of it is this food that's called irradiated. So it's hit with some radiation to kill any bacteria or germs it might have. Those are kind of like, military style, what are called MREs, or meals ready to eat, food in a bag. And then we have, I don't know if we have any around here, but we have some rehydratable food. It's kind of like camping food that you add water to. It's expensive to fly stuff to orbit, so if you can, launch food that doesn't have the weight of the water and the volume that then takes up, it's more cost effective, and it's stays fresh longer. So we have a lot of rehydratable food. We have some food that's you can buy in the grocery store, stuff that is what we call off the shelf, and that are people that manage our food system, like a package of tuna fish, for instance, things like that. Cosmonauts food's different. We share a lot of the stuff. A lot of their stuff comes in cans, but it's good, and it's great to have a variety of things to eat up here.
For Mikhail.
Вопрос к Михаилу.
What do you do for fun, and do you get to watch TV?
Ну, вы ответили на этот вопрос. Мы, конечно, смотрим телевизор.
Well, you practically answered the question. We do watch TV. There is a TV channel here, but it has a short band, and we also have a library. We can watch movies, we can read books, we can call over the regular phone to talk to our friends and family. We have internet access. On Saturdays and Sundays, we have video conferences with families, so it is a variety of psychological support that is available to the crew, and it is very good. It does help us a lot during our flight.
So this is a question for Scott. Are you able to contact your family or use any kind of websites for email?
Yeah, like Misha was just saying, we have the ability to communicate with friends and family via a telephone. It's kind of like a Skype type capability. Voice over IP is how it's generally referred to. So a call over the internet. Probably about 50 minutes out of every hour, we have enough coverage to do that. We have the ability to do a video conference, obviously, like what we're doing here right now. So we can do that with our families generally once a week. We have email, and we also have the capability to get on the internet and, on different websites. Although it's somewhat slow, it's still better than nothing. So we have a lot of capability to stay in contact with people on the ground.
This is Mikhail. What is the most daunting aspect of exploration?
All right. Heard that that's our last question. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Well, it was our pleasure, and thanks for all the great questions.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
And thank you, LBJ Library. Station, we are now resuming operational AudioComm.